Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're jumping straight into it. Manchester City's latest Premier League game against Southampton.
Yeah.
And, well, what seemed like it should be straightforward turned into a real head-scratcher. 0-0 against a team already down.
Right. Really unexpected.
So for you looking to get the key info fast, our mission today is pretty clear. Figure out why this matters for City's top 5 chase and, what it meant for Southampton at the end of their Premier League run. We'll dig into the match report, the Tungthut, look at the analysis, the Nundin, and try to get the manager's angles, their Goknin Kanan. Okay, let's get started.
Yeah, it was genuinely a surprise, that result. A goalless draw for City with all their firepower against a side, like you said, already relegated.
Exactly.
Looking at the Tungthut, the match report itself, City had tons of the ball. And get this, 26 shots?
26. Wow.
But yeah, nothing went in. What's interesting, though, Southampton weren't just sitting back the whole time. Marmish actually hit the bar late on.
Really? So they still carried a threat?
A little bit, yeah. Sure, they had some fight left.
But going back to that Tungthut, that report, it sounds like the first half was, well, pretty dull. The expected goals, the XG was super low before the break, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Like .03 for Southampton, which is basically nothing, and only .67 for City. So just very few clear-cut chances,
Yeah.
Sort of cagey. But it did liven up after halftime. Doku coming on made a difference.
Ah, yes, Doku. The report mentioned him. What impact did he have?
Yeah, the report highlights he brought, pace, directness. Suddenly, City looked a bit more dangerous down the wing.
But Southampton held firm.
They really did. Their defending, which Rusk, the interim manager, called a low block, basically sitting deep, making it hard to play through. It was, well, impressive on the day.
Like specific moments.
Yeah, the report mentions down stuffing Gvardiol, Stevens clearing one off the line, Ramsdale, the keeper, made some decent saves too.
So it wasn't just City misfiring. Southampton actively earned that point defensively.
Definitely. They put in a real shift back there.
Which brings us nicely to the Nyondent, the analysis, the implications of this. For City, dropping 2 points here. That hurts their top 5 chances, doesn't it? That guarantees Champions League football.
It does, yeah. They're still third, but that cushion over Nottingham Forest in 6th, it's down to just 4 points now.
Ooh, okay.
And only a couple of games left for City. So, yeah, it adds a bit of pressure onto those final matches against Bournemouth and Fulham.
Right. Every point is crucial at this stage. They can't afford many more slip-ups like this if they want to lock down that Champions League spot without any drama.
Exactly. This draw just injects a little bit of doubt they really didn't need. Those last 2 games just got bigger.
Okay, let's flip it. Southampton. The none for them, even though they're going down. This point was actually pretty significant, wasn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly so. It meant they avoided being the team with the worst points total ever in the Premier League. They scraped past Derby County's old record.
Ah, okay. So like professional pride. Something to cling on to.
Absolutely. Even when relegation's confirmed, players, staff, they want to finish strong. Avoid those unwanted records. It gives them a small win in a tough season.
Yeah. Avoids that historical low point. Good for morale, I guess, heading into the championship.
Definitely. It matters.
Let's zoom in a bit. Holland was back from injury for this one. The Tungthut, the report, said he wasn't very involved early on.
No, he wasn't. Struggled to get into the game in that first half. And interestingly, Guardiola kept him on longer than he apparently planned to.
So what's the nun done on that? Was he just not sharp, or was Pep getting desperate?
Could be a bit of both, couldn't it? Maybe he wasn't quite match fit after the layoff. His lack of impact early on suggests that.
Yeah.
But Guardiola keeping him on. Yeah, maybe that signals a bit of hope that even a half-fit Holland could conjure something up as the clock ticked down. Trying anything, maybe.
And it highlights City's general issue in this specific game, those 26 shots and no goals. That's very unlike them.
Highly unusual. And the report pointed out something quite strange. The last time they had that many shots without scoring was also against Southampton at the Etihad back in 2020.
No way! Same opponent, same venue. That's spooky.
It is a weird coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it ties into another point. City have actually failed to score in more games this season compared to the last few years.
Right. So is this becoming a bit of a pattern? Are they slightly less clinical than they used to be, maybe?
Well, that's something to watch. Could just be a blip. Could be opposition figuring them out a bit more defensively, maybe just bad luck on the day. But yeah, the numbers suggest a slight drop-off in ruthlessness in some games this season.
Okay, let's get those manager perspectives. The Goknin Kanan. Simon Rusk for Southampton must have been pleased, right?
Oh, absolutely. His comments afterwards were all about pride, the courage the players showed. He talked about building momentum, even now, for next season in the championship.
Sounds like the right message in their situation, trying to keep spirits up.
Exactly. Focusing on the positives, looking forward. Important for that rebuilding phase.
And Pep Guardiola, how did he see it? You can imagine he wasn't thrilled.
No, not thrilled. He called it a difficult game, pointed to Southampton's deep defense, even mentioned time wasting, which you often hear.
Yeah, when the big team doesn't win.
Right. But he also said, look, the point is still important. Destiny's in their own hands. And he confirmed why Highland stayed on, basically, because they weren't scoring.
You can definitely sense the frustration there, though, under the surface.
Oh, yeah. He expects perfection, or close to it. So a 0-0 against the bottom side, even acknowledging their good defending, is going to sting.
And just to layer on some extra context, some key facts here. This was the first time since way back in November 2015 that City didn't beat the team starting the day bottom. And the first time they didn't score against the bottom team since then, too.
That stat really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Shows just how rare this kind of slip-up is for them. A real outlier result.
And for Southampton, that clean sheet was their first since last December. Ended a really long run without one.
Wow, since December. So they really found some defensive steel for this game.
Yeah, seems like it. And again, adds to that picture of City maybe not being quite as sharp offensively in certain moments this season.
It all ties together. Southampton stepping up defensively, City perhaps being a touch less clinical than usual, creates this kind of result.
Okay, quickly then, what's next? Southampton have Everton away and then Arsenal at home.
Right, 2 more chances to build on this performance and on a relative high, maybe?
And City, after their FA Cup final commitment, it's Bournemouth at home and Fulham away in the league.
Yeah, and suddenly those look like must-win games now to nail down that top 5 spot and the Champions League place. No room for error.
So, wrapping this deep dive up, what we've seen is a really unexpected bump in the road for Man City's Champions League chase, thanks to a surprisingly stubborn Southampton performance fueled by pride. And those manager reactions, their Gokun Kansanan, really showed the different pressures and objectives.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how one game, one you'd pencil in as a routine win, can suddenly change the narrative. Southampton, maybe playing with a bit more freedom because the worst had already happened.
Right, less pressure perhaps.
Maybe, and they just frustrated City, who desperately needed those points.
So here's a final thought for you listening in. How much did the psychology play a part here? You know, Southampton maybe feeling less weight on their shoulders versus City, who perhaps had one eye, even subconsciously, on that upcoming FA Cup final.
Could that have just slightly blunted their edge?
Beyond the tactics, beyond the stats we've talked about, what does this single 0-0 draw tell you about just how unpredictable football at the highest level can be? Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.